Radio.
Yep, 21 to 9. Special guest in the studio, Jody Euler. Good morning, Jody.
Good morning, Meech.
Now, most of us know you as a local business owner, but also you're a mum, a working mum.
Correct.
So I just wanted to ask you, the theme for today, International Women's Day, better the balance, better the world. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
Oh, gosh. I think we all are out of kilt a little with balance in our life. Big lessons I've learnt recently. But I think when it comes to female versus men, I don't think that's the space we should be thinking in. I really think, women have come so far, really, in what they believe they can achieve and what they can achieve. But I do think there's still perspective in what we learn from our male counterparts, And I had an incredible male mentor for 3 years, a long time ago in my business life, and he taught me all sorts of wonderful things. So I hold him dear to my heart, but there's also a lot of incredible women out there too.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So I think it is that. It's balance. It's about, getting that seesaw a little more even than what it possibly is at the moment.
And where's it out of whack? In your life, give me an example of where it's a bit out of whack.
Look, I think personally speaking, and I think I speak on behalf of a lot of women, as mums and as working women, we feel we have to take on so much,
right.
And I actually think we're our own worst enemies, to be honest. Having learnt a lesson recently with some major back surgery and taking me, out of that busy kind of rat race and getting off the hamster wheel for a bit, learning to accept help from others and realising that that wasn't a flaw, that didn't make us less worthy or less strong, but it actually empowered me, to be honest, to realise that we're all in this together. So I think particularly mums feel we have to take on so much, whereas we could actually ask for help a little more often.
Okay, and would you ask, that's where you ask the partner for help? Is that the idea?
Look, partners, friends, work colleagues, I think if we open our minds, there's a lot of people willing to help. We just don't think we can ask, we just keep, and I think we get into this rut, of just going along, doing what we're doing and not stopping for a moment and actually thinking, is there a better way I could be doing this? And who could I be asking to help me out?
Well, how often do we get caught in the, this is the way we've always done it, so therefore it must be the best way kind of thinking?
Blinkers on and I know over some of my busy times in life and tough times in life, people are saying, Jody, you need to slow down, you shouldn't be taking on so much, what are you doing? But I was very quick, and I think we're all very quick to dismiss that and say, yeah, sure, how's it going to get done if I don't do it? But it actually can, and the world does go on. The
world does keep spinning.
It does.
Believe it or not, hey.
We're not invincible.
What about getting the blokes to buy into the whole conversation? What's the key to that, you reckon?
Yeah, I think, again, if I reflect on my own personal experience, it's actually involving them. And again, I'm guilty of that, just assuming that I should have to do it all and I need to do it all. And I don't know if that's to prove to myself or it's just because of that rut that you're in. But I think involving them, I think when you actually say, hey, I really need you on board here. I really need your help. It opens up an opportunity for them to feel like they are part of the picture, as opposed to just being on the side and when the wheels fall off and the balls get dropped that, well, hey, now I need you to pick it all up.
Yeah, bring your broom.
Yeah, get them involved. And, whether that's in personal or work situations as well. I've got a couple of guys in the office amongst females, but we treat that environment equal. They're a part of every conversation just as we are a part of their conversations. Yeah. So, I think it shouldn't be a them and us.
Well, Kylie Porter jumped on this and Kylie was just saying, to be honest, and she's not a big fan of International Women's Day. And Fallon Druitt just said, well, it does raise the question, what do you do the other 364 days of the year? But and I'll confess to you, I was a bit nervous about this morning because ABCs around the country have taken their males off air and replaced with females.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we actually had a meeting about that with the gang here, which is predominantly female workforce. And the girls just said, don't really think that's the message we want to send out because what you're doing is displacing men for females, and that's not what it's all about. The way the girls explained it to me is it's getting the balance right. Yeah. It's showing that there is something there for all men.
Absolutely. And I, as I said earlier, from my business mentor, from my dad, from work colleagues, I have learnt so much from men because they see the world very differently to us. And that's just as you want that balance, you want that big whole picture. You can't just have it through one set of eyes.
Well, and hard wiring. The hunter-gatherer is the female and versus the warrior male that goes out and kills the food and brings it back. But then it's rather interesting, I suppose, if you drill down into that. That's a wonderful partnership when you look at it.
Yeah.
That's your role, off you go. But now I guess what we're saying is the female, if you would like to be the warrior, then have a go. Go for it.
Absolutely.
That's really what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's about saying if you want to. I think that's the key word there is wanting to have a go, not feeling you have to. And I think possibly that's where we're, seeing the shift going the other way, where women are feeling this overwhelming need to prove themselves. If you don't want to, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be the gatherer. Yeah. You don't have to be the gatherer and the hunter and whatever else. But I think that's the thing for women is feeling true to who you are and what you want to do with your life, not what you feel others expect you to do. Yeah.
Gentleman never says a lady's age on air. But
you're going to hit me with it?
No. I mean, you're interesting in that, you've got your own kids and they're growing up and those sorts of things. But I'm just wondering, what have you seen change for the better from a female perspective, say in the last, 15 years? You use that as a benchmark, roughly.
Yeah, so I guess for me, when I started out studying in the creative industry, so studying in Brisbane, so we're talking 25 odd years ago now. That's given a bit of age away, isn't it?
Well, you did go to university at 11, which I was very impressed with.
Oh, exactly, that's right. But it was a very male-dominated industry, the creative advertising industry.
Yeah, right.
So in Brisbane, I felt I was quite a minority there. And you did feel that sense in that real advertising world that, it wasn't really the place for females. There's been a huge shift, particularly in that industry. But I also think that women are perhaps just feeling a little more braver to give things a go. And I hope with my daughters, for me, all I ever want is them to feel confident to give something a go. It doesn't matter if you're not the best at it and happy. I think there's so much pressure on everybody and females to prove this self-worth that there's a lot of misery. But to answer your question about for the good, I do think that it's great. It's so great to see girls stepping up and actually, being brave enough to try things that they may not have ever done. If I look at my mum and my mother-in-law and my grandma, who actually turns 99 in June.
Wow.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I love when I catch up with her, and particularly as she's gotten older, she talks a lot about the old days. And when you compare what their role was, and it would never have even entered their mind, the things that my girls are considering doing, So it's quite incredible that we've seen that progression. And I think that is great, but I think we do need to make sure that we keep top of mind, like you said, the balance.
Do you reckon it's a generational thing? Because the resistance, and like you're talking about, and Judy Johnson was in your chair, about half an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, and she was saying when she was a lass growing up, there was just a handful of jobs. You were going to be secretarial. You were going to maybe be a hairdresser. You'd never be driving a truck or becoming an engineer. That just wasn't part of your world.
Yeah, it wasn't on offer.
No, exactly.
And I guess the thing with the digital era that we're in, kids can get on and Google opportunities. They can see what people are doing out there in the world. So that sparks an interest, which, then creates conversation about, well, maybe I could do that. Whereas, I even know when I went through, there was no computers. It was the old, T-score and the book that you flicked through.
Absolutely.
And you had to find your own path. If I look at the creative industries, the space I work in, even that has exploded, So when I studied, you're a graphic designer, or advertising. Now there's all sorts of breakdowns in that area, So it's, there's lots and lots and lots of opportunity and specialised areas. You
Yeah,
know,
being
whereas
an
once upon a time you
influencer.
were, yeah, exactly.
What about that? Can you believe that?
I know. You're not doing that yet, Mitch?
Me?
Come on, I'm sure you
I
can
can
influence.
spell Twitter, but that's about it, hey. I do send them out from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible.
It is.
Influencers and what they're being paid.
Yeah.
You know, the money that they're making from it.
But absolutely. So going forward, as the resistance breaks down at one end of the generational cycle, and with our kids coming through, who, from observation, my granddaughter knocking around with the boys at home where we live,
Yep.
boy, girl, doesn't matter, they don't care.
Yeah.
They just don't seem to worry about that sort of stuff.
Exactly. No, I
So
think
we're on the right track as time goes forward, do you think?
I do. Yeah, I absolutely do think that. And I think it's because of how we are approaching, education and our children, and because of these opportunities. I remember as a kid wanting to play soccer. I was a bit of a tomboy. I hung
Yep.
around with the boys in the street and rode a BMX bike, and soccer wasn't an option for girls. And I desperately wanted to play. Whereas you look at now, there's girl teams, boy teams, and mixed teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely are, and I think it'd be a wonderful world where it wasn't the, male versus female, but just collectively we are together as people, and that's what makes the world go round is people.
Better the balance, better the world, eh?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Jones, great to have you in the studio
Thank
this
you,
morning.
Mitch.
I'm sorry this is the first time you've been in the
I
number
know,
one studio.
but wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yes, as always.
a pleasure.
Thanks, Mitch.
Have a wonderful International Women's Day.
Thank you, you too.
Jody Euler there with one of our guests this morning on ABC Tropical North. And now, just on the Jody side of things. Hang on, Jody, before you go away, nude lunch tickets, they're on sale at the moment, are they not?
They are on sale, absolutely selling
Have you
like
got any left?
hotcakes. We have got some left, yes.
Righto.
Yes, so please get on and support. That's a wonderful cause.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of women,
Yeah,
yes.
well,
yeah.
and that's where it all came from, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
That was the whole idea.
Yeah, wonderful,
All right.
Trudy.
Good
Yeah.
on you.
Thanks, mate.
Jody Euler. So I thought I'd better mention that because Free Plug Friday not too far away. So we'll get to Free Plug Friday after the 9 o'clock news. You just dial 1300 101 222, 1300 101 222, and jump on the wireless and tell us about what it is your community group or not-for-profit group is doing. It's that simple. We've got 4 great big transmitters, so I figure we may as well use them to service your not-for-profit groups. 1300 101 222. We'll pop in with Jimmy Dolan, find out what's happening in